Mate, I have a quick question for you if you don't mind.
I do mind.
Okay.
Because I am a arrogant bodybuilder and all I do is talk about myself all day, and I look at myself in the mirror and people laugh at me and they say, look at this dickhead, and I go, what's my job? I got to flex my muscles, you know. So, but no, yeah, fire away.
That's the best answer. Mate,
Fire away.
what, and please run with whatever answer comes to mind and keep going with it. How do you define spirituality for yourself?
I wasn't expecting that one. For myself, my biggest problem, Carso, is although it's my biggest strength, it's also my biggest weakness, and that's being a logical thinker. I'm so focused on thinking logically, thinking, numbers wise, yes or no answer. That's why in engineering, it's all black and white. There's no gray. The things that are gray, spirituality, emotional, settings and things like that, they've always been one to scare me. And things that, this me being honest, I used to always just not answer that question. But they're things that scare me because, you have to get in touch with something you're not aware of. Not the spirituality part, it's yourself. So understanding what those kind of purpose and values are, and how you're going to define them and put them first through spirituality is definitely a weakness of mine because it's such a broad area to talk about. It's so grey, as I said before, where there is no kind of yes and no answer. I'm sure if you went to uni and there was a subject on it, it'd be one of the hardest subjects because it can also be a perspective if you're marking the paper. You know what I mean? Defining someone else's, spirituality. I hope I didn't kind of go off track there. I hope I
flow with it, mate.
Because with me, as I said, it's so hard being a logical thinker that, as I said, I'm always trying to think of growth in that way. Where, dude, although I'm not an expert in the spiritual side, it's still a weakness of mine that I'm still getting better at, I find, and I'm finding it very, very interesting, mind you. When I started to do more of that, dude, is when everything that I felt I was stale with picked up. So that's where the things that, as I said, like I'm trying to grow my business, I'm trying to have better relationships with people, including my daughter, but a logical thinker will never be able to do that. But the problem is that when you think in the business realm, and you've got to make decisions for yourself and you're working for yourself, if you make emotional decisions, that's usually your biggest fuck up. Yeah. So I guess that's why I've also been scared of it as well, because I don't want to ever think emotionally when I've got that kind of pressure put on myself. Yeah. So I guess what happened was when I kind of started realizing the spiritual side of me, I kind of started becoming more empathetic. I was more authentic in how I spoke. People loved my brutal honesty, but being brutally honest can also mean that you're a see you next Tuesday as well. You don't have to be that to be brutally honest.
That's right.
So people probably listening probably think, oh, did it make you softer? No way. It made me far more stronger and stronger mentally than anything, because I see things in a different light now.
Mate, I'd love to interview you on this.
Far away, we've got time.
Oh, mate, I just want to acknowledge you, mate, because I remember, and I was saying this before, first time when I saw you and I met you, obviously you're a very intimidating, good-looking fella. And then any bloke, Australian bloke, would see that, get really intimidated, be like, oh, he's on, he's up himself, he's on the gear, blah, 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 blah. But as soon as I got to know you more, I was like, wow, there's so much more deeper to this fella. You came up and shook my hand, you'd smile, give me a big hug. I'm like, dang, like that's incredible. Like I was so intimidated by you. Then I got to know you. It's like, what a kind man. And then as time, we caught up a few times. You really listen. Like you really listen. Like a lot of people don't listen. You really listen to people.
What's the saying? It's listen to respond. The people listen to respond and listen to understand, is it?
Something like that. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. Keep going, yeah.
But that was the thing. Like I think the first time we properly caught up was at the Cardamom Pod. and we had a real good yarn, and you really listened, and I was like, dang, like he really wants to work on himself and improve on himself. He's not just like weights and steaks. I was really admired that about you. Then I've just watched your evolution, becoming a father, starting this business, connecting with you and speaking with you, and how you care, and you're putting out this content right now to help other people. I really admire that about you, mate, and I want to acknowledge you for that, because that's a really special thing.
Thanks, man. I don't hear that a lot.
No, honestly, mate, and I don't say that to blow wind up your ass. Like I really mean that. I don't say that to if anyone.
No, dude, it is cool hearing that, because the spiritual side of me, I guess you kind of answered it. The answer I was kind of wanting to put forward before was that when you are so focused, being logical, you're thinking numbers, you're thinking about, I've got to do this many clients per week to earn this amount of money. The spiritual side of me, with that empathy side, being more real, understanding the outside characteristics that I'm not used to, kind of brought me back down to just wanting to help people, which I could probably say is another value of mine, as cheesy as it sounds, but just wanting to help people is what it was. And when I say other aspects grew that I was stale on, like my business, how can I make more money? I want to make more money. I want to keep growing this. But as soon as I just went down the realm of just wanting to help people more and more and more, that's when things just kind of catapulted forward very, very quickly, So, I've always said, like, give people your time, there's time wasters, etc., or there can be people that treat you like shit or whatever, but, you still treat people the same way you want to be respected, and that's how I've always been growing up. I don't care if someone, you might say hi to someone, they might shy you off for whatever reason, or et cetera, et cetera. I still think in giving someone your time, a simple hello, in giving, listening to someone quickly it might be the thing that saves them from fucking necking themselves, dude.
100%.
Simple compliments, where I've given compliments to people before, girls and guys in the gym, g'day, you're looking great, keep going. And then they'll send me a message later that day on Instagram saying, hey, that really got to me, like, thanks so much, I've been trying really hard. Then they'll go on about all this shit, and I'm like, shit, you would never think that person is dealing with that kind of trouble when all you did was just give them a simple, it's not blowing smoke up their ass, it's just a, quick compliment, and go on about your day, and as I said, when I've never tried to do those things, I've just kind of always shied away, because, you've always got to have that macho personality about you and that ego where, people don't want to give people credit when credit's due, where, as I said, when I realized those things you mentioned before, that's when everything definitely picked up, man.
Yeah, because I see you train and everything like that on your IG and just you in general, and I was like, dang, what a beast. But then I look at it deeper, I was like, there's just a really kind man just having a great, amazing crack at life.
Well, that's the other thing too. My frustration goes out in the gym too.
That's a great place for it to go.
That's my time, and people say I train quite aggressively and things like that. Like, yeah, but at the same time, dude, like if someone comes up to me in the gym, if I go to a commercial gym and they want a photo because I'm a pro bodybuilder for whatever reason, like you always got to give them their time. Like, at the end of the day, they're the ones supporting you. They're supporting the sport. They're supporting something that's a bit of a taboo thing too. Like, always give them your time. I hate people that say like, oh, like people come up to me while I train. It's like, well, you asked to be that person. Deal with it.
It's pretty cool that they do that though, bro, when you think about it. Like, people come up to you and go, hey, bro, like, you're Sam Pearce. Like,
yeah, it's pretty cool, man, but I could imagine. I always think to myself, I'm like, look, I'm a nobody compared to the big time celebrities. Imagine them getting followed around by paparazzi and everything like that. But same thing, when I look at them, I say, look, you're getting paid $40, $50 million a movie. That's part of your job.
Some responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you see them complaining about it, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't even know what that's like to have no privacy. But that's why you get paid so much. It's not because of the role you did in the movie. So as a whole, as I said, I think always giving people your time, being genuine, and just treat people, man, like how you want to be treated, because it's so easy to be put in that stereotype, as you said.
Another question for you, mate, if you don't mind, is if you weren't doing this beautiful, the Iron Asylum, if you weren't doing this work, if you weren't doing coaching, if you weren't, changing lives in that regard, what would you be doing instead?
What would I be doing instead? There's no way I'd be an engineer, man.
Yeah.
Nah. No way.
Yeah.
I'd rather go back to security.
Yeah.
No, if I wasn't doing this, I always said if I won Gold Lotto or something I could work for free, I'd want to be a high school teacher.
Wow.
Reason being is early development plays a big role. So kindergarten, primary school, etc. High school teachers are their last hope. That's what I saw. I saw.
Good point.
I saw that's your fucking last hope of life, is someone to come in and just hoping to just mentor you. I don't know about today, but when I was growing up, I find there was a lot more breakups with parents and stuff during high school because they were a bit older. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was the case or not with you, but I saw more of that.
Yeah.
All right. So, there's a lot of emotional problems in that time. There's a lot of misleading. There's a lot of influence from kids with drugs, alcohol, sex. That's all new stuff in high school, and it's getting younger and younger. So for me, what it's always appealed to me is that, if I did, if I won Gold Lotto and I put a ticket in, I'd become a high school teacher tomorrow. Seriously, amazing. I would. That's one thing for me that I would love to, and even now, like as a coach myself and mentoring other people, I would love to get into doing talks in front of high schools and things like that, or mentoring kids at that age. Because, dude, in high school, people say the first thing you get asked in high school is, what do you want to do when you grow up? You don't fucking know what you want to do, man. True. It took me almost 10 years when I finished school to figure out, and a whole degree that, I didn't want to do that. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I would love to kind of come in and just let people just follow the things I want to do. The reason why people rebel is because they're forced to do something they don't want to do. That's why you see so many kids fuck up in class, because they're not interested in the content that's put on in class. Now, we don't have the power to change that. Right. But if you had someone come in and say, look, you only got to put up with this for a certain amount of time per day, why don't you, in the extra hours you have, like you said, if you go to work for 12 hours a day, what are you doing in that extra time? Well, why can't you go to a kid that only does 6 hours a day and say, look, if you want to do this, put more time into doing that. Lazy kids are lazy in school. They're lazy because they don't want to do it. Like, you don't want to do the dishes, you don't want to do the washing, because it's a job you don't want to do for a living, right? That's why we're lazy at it. That's why I don't see lazy as a bad word. Lazy is an indication of something you don't want to do, right? So, put them in subjects they want to do. Put them in things that interest them, and I guarantee they'll kind of go down the right track. Kids at that age, they're smarter, and they want reactions to you, like I remember in class, I used to test my teachers all the time. I was bad in school.
Me too, bro.
You want reactions. You want them to blow up.
Yeah.
Where now, like, people say to me, why is Nia so calm? Like, why is she always? Because I speak for Paula too. We're both very calm people. I don't sit there and blast her where she's going to come and rebel back at me, especially coming into her toddler years. So teenagers are the same thing. You don't give them that attention that they want. You just got to sit down and just bring it back to neutral playing field and apply the things that, to keep them at bay. Don't show that emotion where, they feed from those things. And that's all I see now in the current schooling system coming up. And as I said, when they leave school, they don't know what they're going to do. If they've had no direction and mentorship or direction on what they want to do in life, where's the first place they're going to go to, man? You've seen it with all some of your friends. I've seen it with all of mine. My friends, drug addicts, jail,
parties,
on the run, all that shit. All very short-term stuff, and they look back later in life and say, fuck, I wish I did things differently.
Mate, do you reckon that's because, or do you reckon a big part of, like, people have midlife crisis? They go buy a Harley, they go buy a convertible, whatever it is in their 40s or 50s, because they've gone into that job that they don't want because they were forced into it, or they had to make a decision very young, and it gets to a boiling point until they're like, this isn't me. I just want to do something that lashes out, that's out there, that's something that feels more congruent.
And it's just, as I said, they go for short-term things that doesn't even really fulfill them anyway.
Right.
That's the same reason why they cheat on their partners and break up marriages. One thing I was always happy that my dad told me, he said, and I'll be blunt about this, he said, go out and fuck everyone. When you're young, you just do it. And that's where I kind of started doing that when I was in my bad years. But I understand his point now. It's to realise that shit isn't so fun.
Yeah.
At the time when he was telling me as a teenager, I'm like, yeah, I'll go fuck everyone. In my 20s, I'll go do this and do that. At the time it was cool, but you realise, that wasn't the message he was trying to give me. The message he was trying to give me was whatever is in your head that you want to get out of your system done and realize it's actually the grass isn't greener. So that way when you settle down with someone, you can settle down with someone for the rest of your life and you can have a happy family and have respect, and that's where my parents now have been together probably 35 years, something like that.
Amazing.
Yet when I meet all my dad's mates, because they're all in the media, ex-footballers, my dad was an ex-footballer and stuff as well, they always say, oh yeah, your dad, he used to get, this many girls, he'd always have this. And they used to tell me that. He never told me that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But not once have I ever seen him or heard of him acting up or anything like that while I've been alive. Why? Because when that shit's all done out of your system, you can commit full time to your family and do what you got to do. So it's the same things what you're saying as well. Like when you finish school and you go into a job because you think it's safe, right? Because you're going to earn a certain amount of income because it's safe, but there's no fulfillment there. That's why people live for the weekends. That's why people come out and drink and party and do these things, where I live for the weekends now, but I live for the weekends because I can work hard all week and then I get pick up Naya on Friday afternoons. Yeah. I've never lived for the weekends before. Ever. I've never been that person to go, oh, fuck yeah, it's Friday. I'll always work on a Saturday or a Sunday. I've never cared on that, because even though when I was going through my party stage before I did security, it was never a thing for me. I was like, yeah, I'll do it because there's kind of nothing else to do, where now, I've got some sort of a purpose, because I look at it and I go, I've opted to take Naya on the weekends, because that way on my days off, it's not pissing up one night and then recovering the next. I get anywhere from 3 to 4 days with my daughter undistracted, watching her grow up in my time.
Amazing. And mate, depending on how much time we got, if you could...
I am meant to be interviewing you, by the way.
Yes, true.
I'll let you go with it. Yeah.
Last one. So the man that you are right now, for everything you've been through in your life's journey, which is an incredible journey, if you could give young Sam advice, say 19, 20-year-old Sam, what advice would you give him?
Whatever thought you have of something that you want to do, don't worry about what anyone else tells you what it is. You get in there and you fucking do it. I want to do this shit at this age. What you're talking about, 19, 20, what I'm doing right now, that's what I wanted to do back then. I was so afraid of what everyone thought about me. I was, insecure, and I just didn't want to face it. I did all these other things that I worked hard at to not go ahead and do them anyway, Realize that failing is the best thing for you. Like I failed a lot of times from when I kind of got my shit together at 25, 26, 27. They around that age is when I kind of really picked my shit up and stepped up. And I failed so much since then, man. So much. But I look forward to it. I actually I don't enjoy when things are working great. I need something to fuck up so I can test me, so I can become even stronger when I come out on the other side of it. It's not that I'm thinking negative or I want negative things to happen. But if you can get yourself at that, imagine if I had that mentality at 20, where would I be now? Probably wouldn't be here. Right. So my biggest advice to someone listening in that's young, or it doesn't matter whether young, any age.
Yeah, good point.
Don't give a fuck what everyone tells you, whether it be your partner, your parents, your brother, your sister, your best friends. Doesn't matter who you got to leave out for whatever reason. You got to do you, and then you got to hopefully let them understand one day that you made the right decision for you. What made you happy.
Drop the mic.
There it is.
Nailed it, brother. Thank you so much for this opportunity, mate. It's been so great just to sit and have a conversation like this. It's not often you get to do it.
Yeah, I know. We got busy lives, man.
We do.
I almost ran you over the other day.
Yeah. This lovely smiling face.
Yeah.
Who's this fella?
Hey, it's just me. You're like...
Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it.
Good to see you, bro.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Peace.